Hey guys, Matt here with Carolina Coops, and today we are in Acton, Massachusetts. We are 17 miles outside of Boston. Next to me is Terry and Alan. They are the new owners of this wonderful Carolina Coop behind us. Terry, Alan, thank you so much for purchasing this coop from us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
One thing I've been wanting to ask a lot of our customers to get on video is, why did you choose us?
Well, I did a lot of research, looked online, saw your videos, watched a lot of them. We have a friend and colleague who lives in North Carolina who has chickens. And when I saw your company, I emailed him and I said, hey, do you know anything about Carolina Coops? He said, well, I know about Carolina Coops. I have one. It's like,
That's awesome.
Matt, no, they're great. So,
No kidding.
yeah.
Well, that's awesome. Yeah, Brian, if you're watching, thanks, buddy. I owe you another one, bud. All right, awesome. Well, thank you. So behind us is, again, the Carolina Coop. The footprint is 10 by 24, and the hen house is 4 foot deep, 10 foot wide, and the overall peak from the ground up is, with a 10 foot wide, is going to be about 8 foot tall. Now, in this video, I didn't want to go over the entire coop. You can watch that in many other videos. But I wanted to do, kind of capture another customer and walk around. And there's a couple things about this particular coop that we do get questions a lot about, so I wanted to capture them. Also, Terry, you had a question. Here, come on back in here. Don't be scared. Come back in. Terry had a very good question about, if you want to pan right over here, she's got, how many chickens in that other coop?
We have 7 now.
Okay, I see a
That
bar.
are 6 months old.
So she's got some older hens.
Yep.
And then inside here, let's walk inside. I want you to notice, I hope I did exactly what you wanted. This is actually day 2. We had to come back and Terry requested some extra handles. So we put on 2 handles, one on top, one on the bottom, and I have one right here, so it's really
Nice.
easy to close.
Nice.
So let's come on in here.
These girls are 8 weeks old.
Okay, and you have 6.
6, yep.
Okay, golden lace.
2 Americanas, 2 buffs, and 2 barn builders.
Barn builders, okay.
Yeah.
So Terry earlier was asking me a question, what is the best way to, in this case, we're going to acclimate some older hens to some younger hens. And everyone's got their own opinion on the right way and wrong way to do that. One of the things I always emphasize is don't do it until they're at least the same size. If you can let them free range, that helps, allow the territory to be as big as possible so they can get away from each other. And I like what you're doing here. We talked a little bit earlier, and I agree. If you're in a situation where these girls, they're in your basement, whatever, you're ready to get them outside. Thank God Carolina Coops finally showed up. And this is now going to become their home. Okay, so they're going to get first crack at this. But when you do introduce the older hens, they're going to reestablish that pecking order.
Right.
I really would suggest waiting till they're the same size. You don't have to, but I would, if you do it, bring them in, make sure they can get away from each other, have room to they can free range. I noticed too, this is kind of cool, you brought in some branches, so it's just like if they're outside in the woods, they can run underneath there. I think that's a great idea. And another thing you mentioned is getting them to go up on the roost at night. And that is something that can be a little tricky. One of the things I was going to suggest is, and I'll show this to you guys when we get on the inside of the hen house, but there's an automatic door on the front of this hen house. Now you don't need it because this entire run's protected, but it is nice to have for, security, extra security, God forbid if a predator ever got into the run area. But, we're up in New England, it is nice to be able to control that to block the drafts.
Yeah.
So what you could do is keep them inside your hen house for a couple days. Make them learn, just like this was their brooder again, if you will. Not that they need a brooder, they're fully feathered. And then get them hopping up on those roost bars at night. So they'll, they're creatures of habit. Take advantage of their instincts. They'll want to hop up on those tree branches, if you will. And then once they start to habit, then open this door back up, and they should want to go back up there. Now let's say that doesn't happen. There's 2 things I tell people not to do, especially if you have silkies. Silkies are special, all right? You don't want to baby them. You really want them to learn to go up there, and they usually always eventually do. And you don't want to get caught up and come out here every night and throw them in there. But if you do, wait till it's dark out, okay? Put them in that hen house at night, put them right up on those roost bars, and they will eventually get it. So that's another trick. Speaking of being on the roost bars, another thing I learned from a client in North Carolina, she had to introduce younger hens with older hens, and they were pecking. She put a curtain inside her hen house And the younger hen stayed on one side of the curtain on the roost bars, and the older one stayed on the other side, and that seemed to work for her.
Wow.
Okay, I've never tried it,
Okay.
just wanted to share that.
And that's in there as opposed to out here?
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely, yeah, put it inside the hen house area.
Mhm.
Oh, I also wanted to show you that I've been doing a test run of your soffit lighting. It's kind of hard to see right now because it's still daylight. We got LEDs that are up underneath the soffit. It'll look really good at night. There's actually one up inside your cupola. YouTube chicken, please, before I forget, here's your predator apron, okay? That's all it takes. Attach it to the base. They will not dig underneath. Are you going to bring some soil in?
Yeah,
Maybe
yeah, it'll grass it all.
Grass it all
Perfect.
over.
Let the grass grow through it. That'll disappear. You won't even know it's there.
Yeah.
Oh, so speaking of egg hutch, and another thing that I don't talk a lot about, and this is something our chicken expert taught us. When it comes to acclimating younger hens to an existing flock, the best way to do it is if you have a girl that goes broody, let her sit on some fertile eggs, let her sit on some non-fertile eggs, fake eggs, whatever. After 21 days, come out at night, remove those eggs, okay? Put day-old baby chicks underneath her, okay? You can order them, try to time it right. It gets a little tricky, but what happens is those baby chicks become part of the pecking order, just like nature's intended. All right? It's a lot of fun. It's really easy to do. She becomes the heat source. She'll talk to them. She'll make sure they're clean. She'll make sure they eat. It's a lot of fun. So just a little tip there. But speaking of egg hutch, I added another handle here. Just another thing we think looks really good. One thing I cannot emphasize enough, especially, I'm not sure, have you always used pine shavings for your nesting material?
No, I actually have some other hay.
Perfect.
Okay.
Love hay.
Yeah.
Using pine shavings, what happens is they're never going to be happy. This is like, the bag's always messed up.
And
I don't know.
it's going to get in the
Yep,
cracks.
yep, and we want to make sure that your egg hutch should always shut like that. If it doesn't, there's debris that builds up right here. But when you get some nice nesting material that locks in, and that'll stop that from happening. Yeah. You see our normal framing that we do on all our Carolina Coops, and then I'm sure you've seen the 4x4 framing with the mortise and tenon. The mortise and tenon, very expensive, very pricey. It just gives you bragging rights. You have this giant mortise and tenon coop. And then the normal way with the smaller coops is just regular 2x4 pocket screw joinery on the walls. Now here's where we meet in the middle. So we'll get a shot from the outside. It's not necessary structurally, but I like with these bigger coops for these vertical columns to be a little bit beefier. And instead of having 4x4s here, here's where we just double the walls and we sandwich it. Okay? It's that simple. And you know, it does cost a little bit more than the regular framing, but it doesn't cost as much as mortise and tenon with the 4x4. So actually we can walk in here, get a shot of that, and it just looks, you know, obviously gives it a very nice clean look, and that's what the sandwiched walls are. It's really just that simple. So, available upon request.
Seriously pretty, man.
What's that?
It's seriously
Very
pretty.
Yeah.
Yes.
Very nice.
We like pretty. We want this to look good. What this client's going to do is they're going to run a dedicated circuit. What that means is they'll have an electrician come in, they'll trench, they'll drop direct burial wire, maybe conduit, whatever. They'll come up directly to this LB right here. And what I'm doing right now is what you should never do. Don't do this at home, but I'm testing the lights. I just hooked them up. So what the electrician will do is he'll just run his conduit, his wires, right up into like a junction box, this LB. It's a nice clean look. I'll put the cover right back on. It's actually right here. That water seals it and just makes it nice and clean. So we're behind the hen house, and hen house screen doors, sure you guys have seen that before. We're going to open these up, and I wanted to show something that is another great tip, and that is, come on in here and take a look at this. One, industrial hemp. You're going to love this stuff. Incorporate the deep litter system. You got an egg hutch on each side, and they have them blocked off, and that's very important. Chickens, again, are creatures of habit. You don't want them to learn bad habits. You don't want them roosting in there, so just block that off like you have it. They'll learn to hop up on here, and then really you could probably keep them covered. You'll know when they're starting to reach sexual maturity. They'll start to squat down, 20, 21 weeks, and then just pop those off, and they'll go right in there and start nesting. And then the other thing I was going to mention too is we did add a third outlet for the 110 circuit out there because we needed to power up your soffit lighting and then have another outlet for your heated water system. Chad?
Happy birthday.
birthday! Happy birthday!
That's what you get.
Thank you.
Happy birthday.
27 today.
Yeah. Ooh, looking good.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
Thank you. Yeah,
Thanks for spending your birthday with us.
my pleasure. That's, I guess, I'm not gonna pat myself on the back, but that's how dedicated we are. I know it's my birthday. When you get old, we don't really, but my kids really wanted to be a part of it. And I'll make it home in about 6 hours, maybe just in time. But we wanted to come back out, make sure we finish up everything for you. It's nice for me to come out, see these guys are able to do the job without me. Them to always be here.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
yep.
It's been a pleasure. So thank you so much.
Oh, it's my
Great
pleasure.
experience.
Thank you so much. We're like family now.
Yeah.
Always give us a call. Any questions about the coop, chickens?
Oh, and you can also add Chad behind the camera
Yeah.
with your other compatriot.
Sean.
Sean.
Yeah.
Built this thing in a day.
I don't know how they did that.
That's not technically true. The first day we were waiting for the pad
That's
to finish,
true.
we did a lot of the hardware.
We did a lot of work.
I do want to mention that. I mean, these are real things that happen.
Yeah.
And my guy showed up here, and the pad was wrong. We didn't build the pad. You had a landscaper came in. Somehow there's miscommunication. You were sitting on 4x4s, 4x6 base here.
Yeah.
Yep.
It wasn't right. So most companies will probably turn and run. We stayed here. We waited until it was done right to make sure you're happy. So
Yeah, much
We
appreciated.
appreciate that.
it's my pleasure. My pleasure. Cool. All right, guys. Well, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Check us out at carolinacoops.com. You can always give us a call, 919-794-3989. We love social media. You got Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat maybe now. I don't know. I'm getting a little too old now for that stuff. But and bring up the number, 919-794-3989. Thanks for watching.